But so like, do you think there were any like social political aspects behind the fashion?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's like there's the sort of the anarchist bent on it. Anarchy in the UK. Remember that hit? So yeah, it's anarchist and it's I think I, that's the overarching thing. It's again, it's like that like
Yeah.
kind of like fuck everything.
Do you think there are like similar things in other rebel fashions, like with the whole kind of like
I think
political
that
statement?
I think yes, most have a political bent behind them.
Do you have like anything any other like fashions you're thinking about specifically, or any like
Well, I mean,
iconic
when it goes
figures
to
that have
like
done
punk,
anything?
I mean, punk was, it was anti-Thatcher, it was anti-Reagan. Um, it was, the early 80s, the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, it was also a weird repressive time. Um, like the Thatcher and Reagan had all these kind of anti-poor um, policies, and I don't, again, I don't know so much
Hmm.
about the political stuff around it, but it was a reaction against that through sort of anarchy and just fuck off. I don't know how effective of an
Yeah.
argument that is, but
Awesome. So the next era is the 80s, and I think we've kind of focused on the trends started by Madonna,
okay.
and we don't really have like a specific name, like, but we've kind of called it messy chic. I don't know if you what you
So
would
I would
how you
say that
define it.
like Madonna is like punk, or she's taking elements of punk rock and sort of making it um, you know, um, acceptable or mainstream. So like all that stuff, like with the, um, with wearing like the boosty. I guess that was more her look in the '90s, but wearing lingerie
Yeah.
for clothes is very punk rock, and sort of this like weird twist on feminism. So I think that she was just drawing on a lot of punk
Okay.
stuff, and I don't know if messy chic is a good.
Yeah. How do you define it?
I think that it's
It's still
kind of
punk,
like it's pop punk.
pop punk.
Yeah.
And like, do you think there's the one thing we've thought about for this era is that there's a kind of like connection with like the female independence movement,
Mhm.
and do you think that's like a factor behind the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a feminist spirit about Madonna, I guess. I mean, there is. But you can interpret her as like a feminist figure. I don't know, but I don't know if that's really correct. I don't know.
Would you say that this was the point where the rebel really became a lot more mainstream in culture?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the time of like hair bands, I don't know, like Whitesnake and like Bon Jovi. It's like so MTV used to play videos, and they would play Madonna's videos, and then they would play a Bon Jovi video where they looked, um, like women, or they looked like her kind of, but in sort of a metal way. So yeah, this is not connected to any sort of political movement. This is all surface,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, the '80s, like when it comes to the Madonnas of the world, or it's not it's apolitical.
Yeah.
I think
Do you think it's more about
apolitical. I mean, it's to further their own.
yeah their own brand?
Yeah. I mean, I think they playing off of the punk movement, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's about her. Yeah.
So is it almost about, in the past, it was more about creating a freedom within the culture, or I guess creating this element of freedom against the oppression? And in this era, it was more just of feeling freedom within the self.
I think that I think that the punk movement was like an authentic cultural reaction to things that were going on. I think Madonna is different. Madonna is it's a different era. You know, she is more. I think that she just wanted to make money. You know, so it's
Yeah.
there's something different going on. The way she uses fashion is very interesting, though. I mean, it is. She does use these sort of rebel. She's not the definition of a rebel. She's using rebel accoutrement to like
Yeah.
associate herself with that stuff because she's signed to a major. She's
Yeah.
signed to Warner Brothers or something. You know, she's selling all these records. And I guess she has a sort of she has a rebel spirit about her, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, she's just a really
Yeah.
successful musician.
So do you think that the way um, sellers kind of marketed and advertised the Rebel became something different?
Yeah, I mean, I think that she was, and this is just, people talk about this all the time. She's a really brilliant marketer,
Yeah.
a really brilliant sort of crafter of her own image, and the way that she changed, over time. Who also does that amazingly is David Bowie. David Bowie, like, if you look, David Bowie has an album almost every decade that's great, and it's a
Yeah.
different style, and he adopts to the style of now. He just came out with a new album, which I haven't heard yet, but I'm excited to. But he definitely is another person that sort of morphs in and out of these different styles.
Yeah.
I mean, he was obviously the most popular during the sort of like glam rock punk, but
And so specifically for Madonna, she kind of used like religious symbols, like it kind of to contrast like the very sexual look that she had.
Mhm.
And how do you like? What do you think her thought behind that was?
I think it was just. I think it was reactionary. I think
Yeah.
that it was just. I don't think that it was a deeper kind of like treatise on like religion.
Just to be
I think that
provocative?
it was just. I think it was to be provocative. I mean, maybe she would say something to the effect of like everybody, there is no God, or I have no idea. But I think that she was just using those things to be provocative.
And like more in like a commercial way rather than
And I
like
think
the rebel.
also, yes, and I think that like she didn't invent this style. Like, it's like I think that